Welcome, my name is Sarah Marino, and my paper for IDERI 2012 was about a case study of drama as a pedagogy for writing in one New Zealand classroom that I worked in. This paper is drawn from my thesis, which I presented for my Masters of Drama Education at Griffith University. So firstly, I just want to give a bit of professional background to give you an understanding of how I came to decide to study this area. My professional background at the time of the research was that I was a teacher in a primary school in New Zealand. I had previously, however, worked as a facilitator with the Auckland College of Education, helping to implement the arts curriculum in New Zealand schools. So I was working with teachers and students to develop teachers' professional knowledge of how to use drama within the classroom. And then I went on and worked as a lecturer and advisor at Victoria University, working with people both training to be teachers as well as teachers in the schools. And through this work in a range of different schools and through some action research that I had been involved in, I became interested in the place of drama pedagogies within the literacy classroom within the New Zealand context. And my own previous experience as a teacher and as a lecturer had suggested that using drama to teach writing was beneficial, but I was unsure exactly what the benefits were and how the interaction between drama and writing might best be managed to make sure that quality teaching and learning occurred in both areas. This is an area well researched internationally, but within the New Zealand context there is a paucity of research into drama and writing. And given the huge interest over the last 15 years into finding effective ways to raise student achievement in literacy, which continues still even today, and in particular to consider ways to cater for the learning needs of diverse learners in literacy, this seemed to be an issue that was timely for me to investigate. The data that was gathered and the subsequent analysis brought forth many interesting findings, which today I will briefly summarise and discuss. But this paper is focusing in particular on telling the story of one drama and writing episode as a way to illustrate some of the ideas that were highlighted through the study. And the reason I chose this particular story was that it highlights too the juxtaposition of the two discrete learning areas of writing and drama and how they each inform and promote learning in the other discipline, and the interaction between those two things seems quite relevant to the IDERI theme of borders and translations. Firstly, some background and setting for the study. The school chosen was a New Zealand state contributing primary school in Wellington, and for the purposes of the study and to protect the anonymity of the school, it's known as Cooper's Crescent School. It's a Decile 3 rating school with a number of pupils from a range of different cultures and socioeconomic situations. The school itself had had substantial professional development in effective teaching practices, particularly in the area of writing, through a Ministry of Education-led literacy professional development program, with the emphasis on raising the pedagogical practices and knowledge of teachers in order to raise student achievement. So the emphasis was on the teachers inquiring into their own practice, so this made it also quite a good situation for me to study what I was interested in. My role in the school was that initially I had been a primary school class teacher, but I had changed my role from a classroom teacher to many different roles, including a drama teacher across the school one day a week in a number of different classrooms. But also I was the release teacher for the deputy principal one day a week, and during this day drama was used as a central pedagogy to teach the classroom program, including literacy. So because I already had that history with this group of children, it felt like the right class for me to be using for this study. So this class is a group of Year 5 students, aged 9 to 11. They were very diverse learners. There were 12 boys and 6 girls. And many had been chosen to be in the Deputy Principal's class because of a particular need for support either with learning or socially. And they'd had quite an unsettled year. They'd had a different teacher in the previous term, term 3, and they'd had a new class member who had joined the class at the beginning of term 4 when the study had begun. and this did prove to have some effect on the class dynamics and to a certain extent on the progress of the study. The students were very familiar with the processes of drama, as they had worked with me for the previous 3 terms using drama to teach a whole range of different curriculum areas. The research approach that I took was a qualitative case study where I was also a participant as well as the researcher. And the classroom teacher herself was not present for the teaching sessions and therefore was not directly involved in the study, although she was interviewed about her views on the students' writing strengths and their needs and the strengths and weaknesses of her current writing program prior to the study beginning. The students themselves were interviewed in small groups at the beginning and at the end of the study to find out their views and their experiences of both writing and drama. And a series of drama and writing sessions were then taught across 8 weeks, and these were videoed as a record for me to watch later so that I could have a different set of eyes to look at what had happened. I also kept a research journal where observations about the sessions were written, and the students themselves wrote their own reflections about the process, and I also gathered their writing produced as a result of the drama sessions, as well as other artefacts that were made during the sessions. It's quite important for you to know a little bit about the pretext chosen because I describe in some detail what happens later on. So the text that I chose, I was really looking for a text that would engage students' imagination and provide opportunities for moments of tension where writing might occur. And the reason I wanted this was because an important research paper that I had read by Kremen, Gooch, Blakemore, Goff and MacDonald suggested that writing that occurred spontaneously as part of a moment of tension where the teacher seized a moment to write was more effective than stopping the drama at a predetermined time to work on a particular form of a text that the teacher might have planned for. And so I was really looking, as I said, for a text that would allow those moments of tension to occur, those natural moments where I could seize a moment to write. So I chose a novel called How to Cheat a Dragon's Curse by Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III, translated from the Old Norse by Cressida Cowell. This text was chosen because the class had already previously enjoyed a book by the same author in the series about the characters being captured by Romans, which had a mystery set at the end of it. One of the 3 main characters had been bitten by the venomous Vorpint, a dragon whose bite is always fatal, but in the previous book it is not revealed who the victim of Vorpintitis is. The students in the class desperately tried to convince me to tell them who the victim was, and also asked several times if they could do some drama about the characters within this series, and so this text seemed to provide plenty of opportunities for tension where writing might occur. The text is a humorous, imaginary account of life as a trainee Viking warrior and what it is like to be the son of the chief when you are not regarded as having the chiefly qualities of your father. In fact, instead you're a bit of an embarrassment to him and the other elders in the tribe. This book is book 5 of the series of books. In this story, Hiccup and his friend Kamikaze, with Toothless, Hiccup's pet dragon, have to steal the antidote to Vorpintitis, which is a frozen potato, from the hysteric tribe's chief, Norbert the Nutjob. They need to return it to the Isle of Berk before the Doomfang catches them and before it's too late to save his best friend, Fishlegs, from certain death, on Freya's Day at 10 a.m. There are several engaging characters who help or distract them on their quest. Most relevant for this episode is Old Wrinkly, Hiccup's grandfather, who is the medicine man and seldom accurate seer of Hiccup's tribe. The story takes place across the islands of the barbarian tribes, of which there are many, including the Isle of Berk, where Hiccup's tribe, the Hairy Hooligans, live. There are also many other tribes, including the Bog Burglars, Kamikaze's tribe. The text is replete with rich language and engaging images that provide inspiration for the drama. Additionally, the book has a number of themes which are important for this group of students. How do you support your friends? What qualities do you need to be a hero? How can you think on your feet to solve problems rather than relying on your fists? And these are the key characters: Hiccup, Fishlegs, Kamikaze, and above them Toothless, the small dragon. And this is the setting for the drama, the Barbarian Archipelago, with the Isle of Bute just below the word archipelago. The drama context that I established with the students allowed for changes in time, place and roles across the drama. So initially the drama was set 100 years on from the stories related in the text. At this time, the descendants of the Hooligan tribe, including those of Hiccup and Fishlegs, have had to leave the Isle of Burke, which is their traditional home. They are afraid that the important stories of their past are being lost. Indeed, one very important story about the great chief Hiccup is now fading from memory. Therefore, one of his descendants, Herbert Horrendous Haddock I, has called together the best storytellers and bards from across the tribes of the Barbarian Archipelago to help him discover what happened when Hiccup set out to save the life of his best friend. The bards and storytellers bring much prior knowledge and stories of this time that they then use to interpret clues recently discovered, interview characters important to the story, such as One Eye and Old Wrinkly, and go back in time to become the characters of the story to discover what happened. There are several key student roles within the drama. Firstly, the students take on the roles as bards and storytellers from the various tribes in the archipelago. These roles allow the students to have the perspective that is distanced from the story by time and place. The second group of roles which the students undertook were various key characters from particular moments in the text, including Hiccup, Toothless, Kamikaze, Fishlegs, and Old Wrinkly. There were also a number of teacher roles, and when the students were enrolled as bards and storytellers, I either took on the role of Herbert Horrendous Haddock I, great-great-grandchild of Hiccup, or I was his assistant, Alfred. The students also interviewed me when I was enrolled as One Eye, the saber-toothed driver dragon who assisted Hiccup on his quest, reluctantly, and later when I was Old Wrinkly, who diagnosed Fishlegs as having vulcantitis and who knows what the antidote is. This slide summarizes the findings from study, which I'm going to briefly share with you. So you need to read the slide from the top to the bottom, from the outside into the centre. The findings suggest that because the students and teacher are both working in role for large parts of these sessions within an imagined situation, the students are provided with a context where there is an authentic need for them to write in order to address a particular purpose and audience. By being enrolled with an authentic need, the students appear to have an improved motivation to write, and this improved engagement in turn gives rise to a strong personal voice within their writing. The study also suggests that drama provides opportunities for oral language, which impacts on students' writing, allowing them to initiate and build on ideas, develop understandings of new or unfamiliar vocabulary and language features. And through their use in authentic situations, students hear and share the ideas of others and rehearse and refine their ideas before writing. It is this last part that I am interested in sharing today, the possibility that the process of being enrolled allows students to stand up the brainstorming and idea building process of writing and helps to develop the vocabulary and language features that they would need for a particular piece of writing. And this is exemplified by the following episode in the drama that I'm about to describe. The episode that I'm sharing with you is drawn from session 7 in the teaching. It begins with me enroll as Old Wrinkly, and the students enroll as the bards and storytellers who have travelled back in time to try and find out what happened by interviewing Old Wrinkly. Later in the session, the students then become Old Wrinkly, working to create an antidote to vulpintitis. They rehearse and then write and roll as Old Wrinkly. The purpose of the writing was to create a recipe that could be used as a cure for fish legs, who was presumed to be the one with vulpintitis. This was one of the seized moments to write, as I've described above. In roll, the students questioned Old Wrinkly to find out what he knew about fish legs and his illness. From a writing point of view, I was initially a model for the students, sharing information and vocabulary, helping to build ideas which they could then later use for themselves. From a drama teaching point of view, I was managing the tension arising out of the developing drama from within the role. The transcript of the interview between the bards and storytellers and Old Wrinkly demonstrates a number of different ways that I managed the tension, both while in role and out of role, for different reasons and with different results. This allowed the sense of tension around the central mystery of the story to build, thereby generating a feeling of danger and a deep desire for the students to know what ultimately happened. Because they were in role and had been tasked with finding out the true story of this time, the students seemed to engage emotionally, so that their desire to know what had happened was created not only at an intellectual level, but also at an affective level. Their authentic, unforced response to the possible death of a character in the drama showed that they really cared about what happened and reinforced their desire to take action, which I would capitalise on later in this session. Following on from this, the students then became Old Wrinkly themselves, giving rise to opportunities for them to rehearse physically and verbally before they then went on to write and roll. When they became Old Wrinkly, the tension of the situation quickly helped to generate ideas for the drama, which would be later used in their writing. All of this tension seemed to give the students the sense that they needed to do something, providing the moment to write, as referred to by Marino et al. In that research, by choosing to seize the moments to write, the teachers were allowing the drama teaching to take precedence over the writing, but with the aim of making the writing more authentic to the needs of the context within which they were being written. When I asked the students to step into role as Old Wrinkly, initially they showed a freeze frame, then they silently enacted the process of making the potion for fish legs several times, being given a chance to change what they had done over several rehearsals, and then oral rehearsal was added. The students talk through what they are doing as they come to life and enact making the potion as Old Wrinkly. Myself as the teacher moves around, listening in on each one of them as they are doing it to hear what is happening. The students then rehearse what they have improvised so that they can share it with the rest of the class, with the teacher narrating between each possible potion. In my journal afterwards I noted, it's interesting to see some students with very precise actions, where some others are very obviously thinking hard about it before taking action. Some are using the action to help them think, or at least it appears that way, and that's from my researcher journal. The act of doing appeared to help them put their thoughts into an order and structure that makes sense, also allowing them to rerun unsuccessful bits and refine them to make improvements. This description and analysis of Charlie during the improvisation offers an example of this. Charlie stands rubbing his hands, looking up at an imaginary cupboard, clearly thinking. He jumps up to get something down from the cupboard, adding sound effects with his mouth as he does it. He is focused and intent on what he is doing, sometimes taking small pauses as if to think before he then acts, or reruns previously improvised actions. He puts the imaginary object that he has got from the cupboard on the table, and with large movements, great force, and sound effects, he breaks it open, takes part of it, and adds it to his potion that he is making, stirring vigorously. He sets fire to the potion, making the sound effects and starting backwards as if something has blown up in his face. When asked to go back and practice what he is doing, he reruns the same set of actions, adding words this time around, changing the order of some of the actions slightly. These actions appear to be helping him to think through the order of the instructions, and the words and sounds he is making and saying work together with this to add detail to his sequence. Here it appears he is using the improvisation that he did during the rehearsal period to help create this part of his writing, transforming his actions and sound effects and words into a succinct instruction that conveys the purpose of the task. There is also a sense of concern for a positive outcome from the correct use of the potion. After looking through the students' writing, I was interested to note how many of them had added information about how the potion should be given to the afflicted person, like Charlie did. For example, Gillian adds information about the way the potion should be administered, clarifying the details to make sure that the instructions won't be misinterpreted. She also cautions against just anyone having access to it. Reflecting on this aspect arising in the students' writing, I wrote in my journal, most of the students' writing has a sense of urgency about it, but also a personality to it. It really seems to be talking to someone. It is more than just a set of ingredients and instructions in a row. It has a sense of the world of the drama. Partly it's the language choices that the students have made that fit into the humour of the text. The students seem to be drawing on what they know about how things work in Hiccup's world because they've been in it. Much of the language featured choices are appropriate to the needs of the writing of a list of instructions, yet their concern and empathy comes through in the information that they have given beyond the ingredient list, and how they also inform how to apply the potion, and, in the case of Gillian, how to keep it safely away from others who might mistakenly take it. It seems as though the drama has enlivened the language of the writing. Xavier takes this sense of empathy further into considering what would happen if an ingredient was missing. During the sharing back of their improvised pieces, Xavier gets up on a chair to reach for ingredients and says, "Okay, some ginger, wait, I think there's something missing." He scratches his head and tastes it. "Yep, there's certainly something missing here. Dragon's tails, dragon's tails, dragon's tails. Looking for them. Oh no, okay, so no dragon's tails. Oh, I'm going to have to go to Lava Land Island." Hand over his eyes in despair. Later, in his writing, Xavier includes these two ingredients in his recipe, also recording detailed instructions for where to go to get the dragon's tails, if the user doesn't have them, as an addendum to his actual potion recipe. He also included a map of where to go to get the dragon's tails, with further instructions. It appears that he is using his spoken improvised ideas as a starting point to add further detail to his writing, particularly picking up on the key aspects of the tension in the drama and making sure the reader has what they need to be successful in making the potion. Although the rehearsal and sharing had the effect of consolidating ideas and formalizing them in preparation for the writing to come, many students additionally took ideas from others, adding these to their own ideas to improvise both their drama and writing work. This aligns with the findings of Granger, Gooch and Mambus, where the researchers found that having a context that allows for creative, generative talk to be shared engenders a range of ideas that students can build upon, learning from others more expert than themselves. For example, Callum is normally very reluctant to share his ideas with others in performance when doing drama, and also extremely reluctant to write about anything other than his own choice of writing. When showing his improvisation to others, he confidently shared his ingredients from within role, doing a repetitive mixing action while saying, I need garlic. What else? Oh yes, banana skins. Although he had the opportunity to rehearse, he was still making changes to his improvisation as he showed it, drawing on the ideas that he had viewed in the other students' improvisations. For example, those who had included banana skins in their recipes, and appeared to be using his actions to help give him thinking time. Later, in his writing, he had a huge list of ingredients, which included those he had added at the last minute after seeing others' work. He wrote considerably more within a shorter time frame than he normally did in writing sessions, showing intent focus as he did so. After the list of ingredients, which also included a 4-leaf clover, he wrote, "Cut them up, put them in a cauldron, takes 2 minutes." Underneath at the bottom he adds, "Find a 4-leaf clover in the Black Forest." It appears for Callum the action of the drama has built both his confidence as a performer and writer, as well as his ideas. Additionally, having the chance to view others' improvisation further added to his compositional ideas. He was able to quickly apply what he had developed in his improvisation to his writing, where previously he would often sit with a blank page and say he didn't have any ideas to write, despite having participated in class brainstorming sessions and discussions. In her writing, Gillian also draws on her own ideas from the improvisation, adding what she has heard others say and do as they have shown their work to the class. Additionally, she adds in vocabulary, language features, and information that I had fed to the students while in role as Old Wrinkly, appearing to synthesize a variety of experiences in role, both as bards and storytellers, as well as Old Wrinkly, to create her writing. Her writing shows considerable detail and descriptive language. The work described above strongly reflects the ideas written about by Granger, Gooch and Lambeth, in particular the way that creative contexts are able to help generate ideas that can be trialled and refined over an extended compositional process. The ability to step in and out of the text, as the students did above, allowed them the chance to develop an understanding of character, and emphasized the vocabulary and language features that would be necessary for them to use in their later writing. Although the term oral rehearsal can be applied to some of the drama activities used prior to the students' writing, it was a rather different process than that described by Myhill and Jones in 2009, where the students used paired and collaborative writing to plan, draft, revise and edit their writing together. Instead, here in this study, the students are enacting the task, literally rehearsing it using physical movement, then adding spoken thoughts and going back to refine and change, each step building on the other. Later, they have the opportunity to listen to each other's rehearsals and use this as additional information. They also hear the teacher narrating between each rehearsal piece, using even more language features and ideas, so that by the time they come to write, their ideas are clearly sequenced and thought through, and this, together with the inward pressure to ensure that the writing serves its important purpose for its audience, means that they write with intense focus and attention, appearing to be clear about what they need to say and why. Later, the students reflected on their writing while in role. Lydia commented, "I like to write in role because you get so into the character that you feel like you're that character. Because I don't like writing, it's kind of like you're creating this person that likes writing." Later adding, "Because you're an adult, you feel like writing more and you're into that character." In Xavier's writing journal, he commented that writing in role was more enjoyable because he had a reason to do it, also recognizing the importance that his writing played in the survival of a key character, showing a sense of agency as discussed by Greenwood. That is, a compulsion to take action because he feels a sense of responsibility. Finally, as a way of summarising what I've shared in this slideshow, I'm showing again the diagram that I presented earlier on. And now, having heard one of the moments from the drama, hopefully this will make better sense for you, and you can think about the process that was described and how that fits into this diagram. Also, the title of this show was "It's Easy to Imagine Because You've Been Up There," and this was a direct quote from one of the students, and I think it summarises how students seem to find it much easier to write too because they've been involved in the process of being that other person who they're writing from the perspective of. So thank you for listening, and hopefully you've found something of interest. If you wish to talk to me about this any further or you require any more information, I am contactable on the email address on the screen. Thank you.